Yeah, and I think what they do is they just get the Blink Dagger first. Cane Boots
Yeah.
Blink, be a little bit more aggressive. I also think that the Magnus pick will work a little bit better versus the Shadow Fiend. Maybe a little bit worse in lane, but does that same idea of I skewered the really squishy ranged hero into 5 hero strategy a little bit better than versus Lena, because Lena's just even further away. So
Hmm.
range-wise, Shadow Fiend's going to be more in that playable area for Magnus to kidnap the Shadow Fiend. But I think also just giving Heiko a little bit more time, a little bit more space, if he's able to look for a BKB after the Greaves, then we're right at home. But we'll have to see. And Thunder Awaken decide, okay, switch things up, see if that's going to be just a Night Nature's Prophet. Almost feels like it has to be, even though Illich was playing this a ton as well. It's really hard to tell because the Thunder Awakened cores all switch between these heroes very consistently. It usually ends up being a lane thing, but having this flexibility when you don't have last pick, I mean, it's great to see. And then the Clockwork, perfect pick, perfect counter versus heroes like Rubik, like Magnus, that want the initiation, that need the vision to go in. A Clockwork's just going to try to get in that in between and be really annoying.
Hmm. Just do honestly what Clockwork does, and at a certain point, you don't really care too much if he's throwing his life away as long as you get the lockdown and the initiation that you need out of it. So, should be a fun time for the Thunder Awakened side. Now, for NoRunes, well, what are they looking at here? Where do they think the SF and the Prophet are going to go? Because really, that is going to say a lot about how they want to approach this here in terms of their lane setup. The Mag really, at this point, can't afford to go anywhere else. I mean, technically speaking, Mini could try to pull something out of the old Yuma playbook and run it one, but that feels genuinely just bad.
Yeah, I think it's too much of a specialist hero as well. I think the hero that's the best matchups all in all.
Hmm.
Okay. Was not necessarily thinking of the Batrider, but I was expecting them to pick their carry here. But okay, sure. Batrider most likely would have been banned, but not only gives them a possible laning situation versus the Shadow Fiend, but is all in all a great hero versus Nature's Prophet. Super
Hmm.
easy gank to be had. Just TP onto the lane, probably with the Rubik setting up. A lot more kill potential in those side lanes with the Batrider pickup. Just feels like NoRunes have a little bit more initiative than they had in game one. Not saying that Tusk is a bad hero, and Tusk can certainly make those rotations, but just falls off a cliff damage-wise. And then if you don't make those rotations and they aren't successful, then all it takes is a mech to come out, and then suddenly your damage is halved, and then suddenly you aren't getting those super quick picks that you're picking the Tusk for. So, love the Batrider.
Hmm. And of course, the way was already kind of paved for the Bat because Thunder Awaken closed out Phase 2 by taking the Queen of Pain out of the picture. So you don't have that sort of tried and true counter strat to throw out there, even if you were willing to move around the heroes to make it happen. So solid pick for them. Now, though, Thunder Awaken really do know what's up, right? The Mag and the Bat have been taken. It's going to be a carry pick here from the NoRune side, so they can focus in on those bans, TB first, and well, it becomes a little bit more important here because NoRunes do have overall last pick. So even if Thunder Awaken sit here and say we already know our own options with the SF and the Prophet where they're going, you don't want to get taken by surprise here by, well, I'm not really sure what at this point, ET, but last pick has shown us some crazy stuff before.
Well, and they also opened themselves up to exactly this, the TB ban. It's probably the easiest ban that Thunder Awaken could have looked for. It would be a great TB game, but, as we saw earlier, can also fall kind of flat on its face if it doesn't get
Mhm.
enough time and you're playing a little bit too quickly. And Thunder Awaken are certainly going to look to up that tempo, even though they could probably go for another hero to go out and in front, and they ban out the Morphling for a reason, saying that it could still very likely be Illich on that Nature's Prophet. But they will start to chunk through buildings, and more so than buildings, they'll just chunk through Roche. They have the Nature's Call, they've got the presence of the Dark Lord, they've got the anti-armor. It's really easy for them to barrel through these objectives. And Thunder Awaken go with a fast pick, and it's just the
Okay.
Snapfire. So this feels like Lalatroni, mid Shadow Fiend, then Nature's Prophet carry, then Illich Snapfire, if I had to guess.
Hmm. Well, seems most likely based on what we've seen from these players before. Of course, Thunder Awaken playing ever so slightly with the mental edge of having just played Lelatroni mid on the snap, so NoRunes, even if they're 99% sure it's not going to happen again, the fact that it was the call, puts that 1% of doubt in there, but very unlikely, but it's a possibility at least. But if you're NoRunes, I don't think you care. You need to focus on your own lineup, and yeah, with last pick, they'll go in for the Alchemist here, and, well, Alk, with a Magnus to maybe buff him up with the Empower, he is going to be farming faster than pretty much anything else in the game.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a forcing pick. Many would have loved to lane versus an offlane Nature's Prophet, and with it, they do solidify what Thunder Awaken kind of fixed as well with picking the Snapfire here for Illich, but they just swap up their lanes. They almost are forced into swapping their lanes. You know, want to give Alk maybe a little bit more credit than it deserves, but it is a nice little move for them. And a hero that hasn't gotten off the ground yet here in BTS Pro Series, but is still a fearsome hero with some great timings that come fast, BKBs that come even faster, plays extremely well versus the Shadow Fiend because you get Radiance, BKB, Blink Dagger, and then you jump him, and then he either has a BKB, in which case you just right-click him to death, or he has his own kind of survivability tools, in which case he doesn't have a BKB, so you just run him down. So really, there's no bad way to shift it up for Mini. But of course, we're going to be staring at that net worth. We'll know the signs as soon as Thunder Awaken start to overtake or get close to that Alchemist. That's when we know NoRunes are in trouble.
And honestly, as long as he doesn't self-stun half a dozen times, he'll automatically be in a little bit of a better position than the last Alk we saw, which wasn't even the fault of the player 100% there, right? There were BKBs left, right, and center, but it was still kind of funny watching Unstable Concoction really not come into effect. But if you're Mini, you're very much hoping that that does not happen to you, because NoRunes can make stuff happen without him, right? They're not 100% beholden to the Alchemist, but boy, oh boy, it sure would be easier to make everything happen if Mini has a good game on this hero, you know?
Yeah. And keeps in with that theme of side lanes being a great way for them to get back into the game. NoRunes have real easy setup. It just needs to be Mr. Jeans making that rotation. Worst case scenario is that Mini and Mr. Jeans farm the same area as Nuages. Well, getting gone on, but Mini's got a concoction to throw. Two-man,
Nice.
three-man stun.
Well, August might still die, though. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But Battery Assault is, well, it's a pretty good spell, level 1, and Excel, very bold. Just basically saying, I know you guys aren't going to turn on to me, so he just pushes his way forward, and doesn't actually save his ward, I suppose, but he's able to at least make sure that there's no sort of secondary engagement. So Thunder Awaken get first blood into their hands. Excel was the one to get it, though, so he'll come to lane with some more regen, I guess, but not much more than that. But hey, that means Clockwork gets to be somehow even more annoying than usual, which I didn't think was possible.
Yeah, and the win lace, honestly, is annoying. It'll be obnoxious. It actually lets him close the gap very easily onto Rubik. And you got to be real careful if you're Jupiter. But look at Heiko. The Treants are looking for the body block. They know that he doesn't have Skewer. There you go. Shockwaves the Treant behind him. Love how that spell works, but they're still even looking for the block. They are really trying to gun for any damage here, but it will peter out, even though Knight is just going to run all four of these Treants at Heiko and Jupiter. See if they can get that full surround, the Zerg rush. They're coming. The trees.
I mean, this is a lot of free damage that they're getting, although Excel's got to be kind of careful here. He is getting a bit beat up, but hey, there's that first blood gold. Comes to lane with the salve that he can pop for basically free, and, well, it's an interesting maneuver. They get some damage in, not much more than that, but if the Clockwork's just looking to trade out with Jupiter, this is going to be a pretty solid maneuver for him.
Yeah.
And
Just plenty to see. Plenty to watch, but it is also the same laning setup that Heiko and Jupiter were kind of rocking versus the Lina for those first few levels. Just, again, the double nuke. You can't really get denied. Contesting creeps is very difficult. Got to be careful about running out of gas, but as soon as your spells start to do damage, then you're pretty happy. But Autumn, yeah.
Oh,
Mini.
they were playing a game of chicken there. There were magic stick charges, the fairy fire comes out, Mini tried to come in with the concoction, but Scatterblast is a little bit stronger than all of that.
And no trees. No dancing.
Yeah, that is the downside, right? Nuagas, you get to play your hero. So many games on the Treant Protector, but nobody's going to lane against a tree without bringing basically double Quelling Blades. This middle lane, Lalatroni, well, beaten down, and there's the play. You always wonder how conservatively will you go against the Bat Rider, but this is the problem with the Shadow Fiend. If you do get the stacks on you, there's nothing you can do. You can try to scare him off with a raise combo, but that's basically it.
Yeah, no, just let too many stacks build up too quickly. Doesn't even have a point up in the Flame Break, and probably should get one at level 4, but really, it's just that free. Very nicely played. Usually you have a bit of an XP advantage on the Shadow Fiend as well, because you can just play for denies that much easier, because you have that much more base damage, but loses track of himself in a lane that could become very hard very quickly. We're not even at the hard part of Batrider yet.
Yeah. Bad time for an early death, but well, we'll see if he can make up for it. Thunder Awaken, able to get a couple of early kills on the board here, but it feels like things might be... Oh, hold on. Settling down is what I was going to say, but Mini, he wants the fight. There's a concoction. Cookie doesn't get him onto the high ground on Illich, but it gets him far enough away where the Alk no longer wants to be involved.
Yeah. Walks away, walks back to the creeps that are already just parked right in front of his tower, so he's happy. And Minya pulls off to a little early lead here with the CS, just under the least amount of pressure. Also, finally get that small camp opened up, which is very nice. And look at that, great Nature's Grasp. Doesn't let the pull happen, so they still have to sit here and fight Mini in his acid spray. It's been very obnoxious.
Of course, with Mini going for that point in the unstable, it does mean he makes a little bit less gold and or has a weaker acid spray, but if they can't pressure you, who cares, right? You're going to make up that difference just because of how freely you can sort of lane this one out as Excel gets himself caught out. Telekinesis online. They got the Shockwave Skewer combo, and not a whole lot that Knight can do to protect his teammate there. Doesn't even have a point yet in the Sprout, even if he were going to try.
Yeah.
On the other side,
Very
Nuagas dropped low by the toss back, but well, pops a Leech Seed, walks away, Mini runs interference, and nobody's gonna die here, but again, this offlane out of Thunder Awaken really not getting as many openings as they may have thought when they put the lane together.
No, they really aren't. We're still having to wait quite heavily, and oh, look, mid. TP comes forward, so does have to peel away the Batrider, but scary situation, and the bottle refill will come through. But this is where Batrider's at his strongest, really. Level 5, that level 3 sticky napalm just does so much damage. Lalatroni's not careful, he could go down, but very nicely navigated there, and great TP in from Michael.
Lalatroni knows just get back as fast as you can, as Michael is going to fight with Nuagas there in the lane, but well, back mid, Jupiter is very far forward right now. Mr. Jeans is making his way over to this engagement, so that should be enough to dissuade any further fighting, but that was a little bit of a strange one. They did get the ward down, I guess, so mission accomplished, but a very bold move from the Rubik. Just waltz your way in, drop a ward, and walk away.
Yeah. And gets away with it too, because they missed with the sentry. You know, kind of unfortunate. Excel even placed another ward, just scouting out the river even further. But a lot of time spent here. Meanwhile, Jupiter just kind of nuzzles up next to the creeps, looking to stack out the Ancients in the large camp a little bit here for the Batrider or the Alk, either one, really. But let's see that 6-minute rune rotation, and it will be an Invis bottom. One that Nuagas will just take, even though Michael took a lot of damage stacking these creeps, and he's kind of on the run here. They both are not the fastest heroes, but looks like in the night, the Tiny will escape.
Meanwhile, up top, Knight gets himself into a little bit of trouble, but well, there's the bonus, right, for the Nature's Prophet. They had to use really both forms of lockdown to actually initiate onto him, so he is free and clear, but his teammate is in some serious trouble. Lalatroni caught out. That's the first lasso of the game. Nuagas will end up dying for that, but it's going to be a 2-for-1 And Mr. Jeans gets the 2. Double kill for the Bat Rider. 3-0 start now, ET. So, well, this lane becomes very concerning. If you're Thunder Awaken, that is going to help them get a little bit of that gold back, though. That is a solo kill from Illich onto Mini. Just catches him out with no HP. Didn't even use the kisses. And over on the other side, Heiko will not be jumped in on. So, okay. You know, the bad news is Bat Rider's kind of running away with his lane. Good news is you're finding plays in the other lanes.
Yeah, you're getting something, and really Illich just pulling ahead just a little bit XP-wise is probably why that kill happens. Mei's just not level 6, while Illich is. Not that the kisses were used in that engagement, but just fighting for his last, it's a little bit more. And you already see, I mean, 13 to 9 is 14 to 9 is, you know, Sapphire is kind of owning his lane right now. I mean, he's struggling just a bit, but look at that. Mr. Jeans, Thief in the Night, steals a triple stack of the large camp, but now
He's
the
not gonna
punish
get
Knight.
away with it. Yeah.
Wrath of Nature coming through. No, it ends short, but
Kisses
they don't have enough damage here.
You don't have the range.
Oh no.
Boy. Now Excel, I mean, he chased after that. He's got no backup. He's just too far forward. Trying to deny. Not going to happen. Flame Break gets the kill. It's now 4-0 for Mr. Jeans. So, I mean, realistically, right? He comes in, he steals your stack. You got to try and punish him for it, but they just go a little bit too far, and instead of punishing him, they just drop another couple 100 gold in his pocket, and, well, then Jupiter gets picked off mid. So Lalatroni on the road to recovery. That's not quite the Bat Rider kill that they wanted, but it's something.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, Lalatroni's also got these power runes, got a haste now, so maybe a play we could see from him, but it just bizarre that Thunder Awaken kind of miss on that kill from before. I'm still kind of reeling from that, even though Wrath of Nature, back off cooldown again. If they were ever going to look for one of those global rotation plays, it would be just about now, even though Knight probably just wants to finish up his Midas. Even though, sadly, for Knight, because he rotated out and really couldn't get a play onto any tier 1s, any towers, he has surrendered the lane to the Magnus. Heiko has free farm, and one of the unfortunate aspects of that Nature's Prophet here is once you leave a lane, you kind of don't want to go back to it. You rotated, you failed. Now if you go back, you're going to be on even footing with the offlaner who has a good chance of killing you. And look at this. Lasso, it just works. Excel, so far forward, no hook shot away. He's only level 3. And that's Boots of Travel done from Mr. Jeans, and another stack for him to farm.
He really didn't want to use that lasso. Waited until absolute last second as Excel was trying to TP away before pulling the trigger. But now, what's going on here? Jupiter, not going to survive that one. Toss into Requiem. Pretty easy setup. Mr. Jeans, though, wasn't caught in it. I think they were gunning for the Bad Rider instead, but they'll take any kill that they can get. But now, fight in the river. The rune actually ended up spawning south, but they'll take the kill anyway. Noagus gets picked off, and well, I said Lalatroni was on the road to recovery. 3 kills in a row now going his way, and he's starting to look pretty good. Or not BKB, excuse me. Blink Dagger nearly completed, but ET, I do want to draw attention to one thing. It's a different situation this time around, but Heiko, again, did not go straight for the Blink. He's got the mech a second time.
Yeah, choice that, you know, I still don't know how I feel about, but I think if you can play around these tier 1 fights, defending these towers a little bit more, the mech will pay off, or pay itself off a little bit easier. As another pick onto Jupiter. Jupiter who stole the tome, but the only way this mech feels good is if you can defend your buildings. If you can have another 250 HP to play with as a team. Otherwise, it just isn't worth losing out on your initiation. And bottom, okay, well, this tower is just dead. It is completely locked out. There are too many heroes here to cut off the Treant from making any defense happen. But NoRunes have to defend their tier 1 mid. They have to play up. They have to play the advantage of this Treant Protector. They can't allow these tier 1s to just get barreled down so easily. And it's what the Magnus has prepared himself for. He is going to stand in the lane. He's going to try and stop you from pushing. He just has to be a little bit more successful, and then the lack of Blink feels a little bit better. But until he makes a successful defense, it just feels kind of bad. And Hook, look at this.
About as easy as it gets onto Jupiter there, but Heiko's at least able to just kind of backpedal his way out of the fight. Or maybe not, Excel. Gonna spot him. There's the skewer, though, and maybe they can get an easy setup here. Flame Break does knock Excel into an awkward spot. Well, awkward from NoRunes' perspective. They will eventually get him, but it is going to cost them. Heiko just kind of gets forced into the middle of multiple heroes, but there's going to be the lasso. They're trying for something here. Mini's coming in. Does he have a stun? Well, I mean, he did. He just didn't use it. That was a little bit strange, but that means the SF gets to walk away. Michael will die, but that fight circumvents any defense of the Tier 1 tower. The objective does go down, and that's what Thunder Awaken were really hoping to do there.
Yeah, they got what they want. They're happy. They're very satisfied with the outcome of that team fight. And now Heiko's kind of homeless. Where does he go? His Alk and his Batrider are going to want to farm the triangle on top, so he's going to have to take the kind of weird farm towards bottom, the dangerous farm, and then he just needs to hope he gets his Blink Dagger in time to make a play, but it's difficult. At least Heiko will still find some value in his hero, though, in this game. He's got the max of power. He's been giving it over to his Alchemist. He's helping Mini out. But Mini is also struggling for those super ideal timings. He doesn't have his Radiance yet. 13-minute no Relic is pretty rough as far as Alchemists go. And his opponents are not slowing down. Shadow Fiend already kind of battling him for top net worth spot, but Knight himself, full Midas, is working for his Maelstrom now. And they're going for another play. Wrath of Nature primed. Gotta be so careful here, and especially mid. The supports, they are just on a ward. But they're going to start to move away. This is not intended for whoever pushes out mid, though. They would love to find the Alchemist, but you could see something feels wrong right now on the map, and NoRunes feel it.
Smoke pops. Excel takes his shot. Doesn't hit. Loses hook shot, though. Okay. Now all of a sudden, Jupiter starts looking around the battlefield, saying maybe there's a play I can make here. They don't want Excel here with that hookshot, though. They would love to just pick this up for free, but okay. With the TP coming, use it to cancel. Short enough cooldown where I think he's going to get a second attempt as long as he doesn't die, and okay. Maybe Excel's not the most valuable kill in the world, but you shut down the aggressive attempt from your opponents, and you get a freebie.
Yeah, and a very nice read. It's such a nice read that this secondary smoke kind of makes sense, even though it looks like it's just going to result in a Jupiter kill, even though not the cleanest execution, but could be worse. But as soon as they see Mini, all they can do is really ping him out. There's nothing to do. You can't really lock him down any further with the Tiny. Just too hard of a kill to make.
So Jupiter helps set up for a kill on one side, sacrifices himself to save his core on the other. And, well, time is being bought. Mr. Jeans is getting closer and closer to his BKB. The Radiance is going to be online in a little bit for Mini. And Heiko Blink progress. Still 600 or so gold out, but ET, you know, he is getting there. Despite the fact that he didn't really get to act as that tower-saving buffer like he wanted. They're still building up.
Yeah, still getting there. Still getting to their big power spike. As Nuages,
wow.
Yeah, walks into the Shadow Fiend, and the Shadow Fiend decides that I don't want to be here anymore, but Trony as well, building up for this BKB. We'll have to see. I think Knight is also looking to match that timing, just trying to get the double BKB spike for Thunder Awaken. One that will come at a pretty close time to Mini's Radiance BKB, so really, everything's kind of lining up here for both sides. The only question mark still is what they want to do with the Magnus in the meantime. That's still the difficult play that I haven't really seen too much out of them. I haven't seen a lot from Mr. Jeans either in the past 2 or 3 minutes, just kind of rotating, reacting to a lot of the aggression from Thunder Awaken, but he's got a BKB in his back pocket as well. He's going to be the first one of the game.
This is looking kind of weird in the top lane. Illich is just taking a camp, and you got a trio of NoRunes heroes who I thought had gotten vision of him, but maybe they didn't. But well, they didn't know that they had the numbers, or thought maybe there were other heroes in the area, so Illich just walks away. Bottom lane, Mr. Jeans is caught. And Mr. Jeans gets taken down, so yeah. Now that's even more awkward. 3v1 situation top that they don't actually pull the trigger on leads into your Batrider getting picked off on the other side of the map.
Yeah, it was a fantastic hook shot from Excel. Didn't have flare vision of him, had just kind of had to guess in the trees where he could have been. And then simple as TPing on top of him with the Nature's Prophet. He had already TP'd, he forfeited his life. And a pretty large kill as well. Long streak too, given over to Knight. Propels that Nature's Prophet forward. Almost has his BKB now.
You're Awaken. Ever so slightly starting to pull away at this point. Oh. Philosopher's Stone being found there by the Prophet as well. Not for him, but one of the supports could definitely appreciate that bump up in terms of the GPM as the scan comes in, but the hook shot's there first. That's... Oh, that's back-to-back now from Excel, and at this point, okay, they're going to try and get a response. Heiko, big RP, into the Shockwave, into the Skewer, catching 3. And that is definitely going to make the loss of the Batrider worthwhile. The trade-off is perfect, and, well, took him a while, ET, but hey, the Blink Dagger comes online just in time for your Mag to make a move.
Yeah, no. Great RP. Unfortunate that you lose the Batrider, but also comes before any BKBs from Thunder Awaken. So that was kind of their last early game play here in the beginning of the mid game, because now you will have those defensive tools. Now you will be able to react with a little bit more confidence, but they kind of throw themselves against the wall and give a whole bunch of gold over to Mini, who is now going to occupy that top network spot for a while. He's got full BKB, he's got full Radiance. Now I just need the Blink Dagger and AC, and this out can start to be the monster.
And on the other side, well, Knight's got a BKB of his own, so they do have that online. BKB is pretty much done for Lalatroni if he just, there you go, activates that boundary rune, he should have it. So, Thunder Awaken kind of get the worst of that trade the last time out, but they should be confident with the BKBs that they can take the engagements in their favor. Excel, though, needs a bailout, and Illich is right there for the defensive hook.
Yep, gets to walk that one away. Look top. Yeah. Mr. Jeans, TP's in on the side lane. Michael still doesn't have his own Blink Dagger. And Mini, okay, not the greatest BKB, but I think caught wind of Lalatroni being in the woods, so didn't want to push too far forward.
And Excel's, or was, kind of coming up from behind, but before he gets a chance to do anything, the lasso is going to pull Illich in. They've got themselves an unstable concoction for the follow-up stun. Heiko shockwaves nothing, but that doesn't matter. Still in the fight, able to find the kill. Illich goes down. Excel knocked back by the flame break, but they do show a little bit of respect. They kind of lost sight of the Shadow Fiend. Nature's Prophet was back up, so with that many unknowns on the field, they decided to back away with the kills that they got, and well, momentum definitely shifting at this point, ET.
It's becoming more of a question of who finds that initial jump, as well as where Michael finds his Blink Dagger, as there is a BKB, but doesn't get it off, but it's so funky looking, and they still get the Batrider.
Well, Overgrowth is going to be committed. Lalatroni dropped low, taken down. Mini wants this fight. Heiko coming in as well. Drops the RP onto the Nature's Prophet, but Knight, BKB active, looks for the TP out. He does lose that magic immunity, and that buys Mini the time to get the tiniest duration unstable concoction off, but it just had to cancel the TP. And that allows NoRunes to eventually swing the fight their way. That looked a little rough at the start with the back getting picked off, but it's 4 for 2 in their favor. Tier 1 tower goes down as well, so a 1k lead turns into 4,000.
Yeah. Great pull away. A lot of BKBs committed. And funnily enough, because the chain stun was that good, you get to save your BKB charge. You get to save your 9-second on Mr. Jeans still, because he just went down early. But a fight where Mini didn't have to use his BKB, where they just kind of got carried by the RP, they just used too many ultimates on a single target, and they willingly took that fight without their Snapfire. Illich was still respawning. He was in the fountain. They didn't have Greaves, they didn't have Kisses, they didn't have any more cookies. Just a bit of an overextension. And you use everything and still lose? Pretty grim stuff. It's where I think Thunder Awaken, they're lucky that NoRunes aren't strong enough to just swing immediately into the Roche, but the AC is almost done for Mini, and that Alchemist is capable of barreling down those objectives.
Yeah, then he really turns into, as you said before, into the monster. But that does mean Thunder Awaken have maybe one last chance. One swing here to try and get back on an even footing as Excel contemplating. Decides not to go in for the hook shot. Also very smart of Mini to blink away there so that they don't see his self-stun as Michael... Well, they're going to try with the kisses here. Avatos comes in. Damage is not enough just yet as Excel... Oh, Excel. He was trying to hookshot in to finish the kill. Instead, he hooks directly into Heiko, who kind of stepped in front of the bullet. And now... Yeah, this is not what Thunder Awaken want. They're going to sacrifice Excel and just pull everybody else back.
Yeah. Gotta get out at that point. Nice attempt onto No Aegis, but even then, it's just kisses for Treant Protector, who is fine. Still has Overgrowth, has a Blink Dagger. Oh, they even want to kill Michael Still now, and they catch wind of Tiny's play, so they end up swapping places for the D word, even though Mini might stun himself, but they're getting stonewalled a little bit. And that's Thunder Awaken's foreman trying to make these plays while Knight's still farming, which is certainly valuable, but so's Mr. Jeans. The Batrider has been eyeing the Nature's Prophet on the other side of the map pretty much this entire time. And of course, because he's a boosted travel carrier, any big team fight, he can just TP to. So Thunder Awaken are not getting away with any more than what NoRunes are also getting away with. Everybody's getting very farmed in this game.
Yeah, every bit that you're picking up, your opponents are getting just as much, if not more, considering they've got the Alk and the Empower on their side. So Thunder Awaken may need to try and do something because that AC is finished and Mini is really looking for a play. Do want to point out, though, still holding on to it for a little bit. That's a DD rune bottled for Lalatroni, so could make the difference in the next fight if he can find the right target, but it looks like he's the target here. They're looking for him.
RPM.
Yep. RP into the Shockwave, into the Skewer, just to make sure there was no BKB or anything, and not only is that probably the most valuable kill they were going to find on the map, ET, now that leads them into Roche, which, if you're Thunder Awaken, I don't think you can contest this. Maybe Excel can try for the old suicide steal kind of maneuver, but it can't be a full fight.
Yeah, even then, it's not the fastest Roche, it's not pretty, but it'll just happen. And here we go. No flare for 5 seconds. You pretty much have to guess at this point. He's already in position, but the Rubik's trying to make the cutoff, and here we go. Too late. Is now going to hold it. Excel gets to keep his life, but...
Whoa, what is this? Michael's in. The kisses were deployed. Do basically no damage, and now they know where those kisses came from. Able to do a little bit of range finding there, as Illich is going to get spotted out. He'll die too, and... So that's basically backwards from what we thought it was going to be. We thought it would only be the clockwork at most. Instead, the clock doesn't go in, and the other two members do.
Yeah, little peculiar, for sure, but, you know, Aegis still goes into NoRunes' back pocket, and then uses his BKB to make the kills a little bit cleaner, but he is still building up, probably going to look for either a Swift or an Overwhelming Blink as his next item, then a Basher afterwards. Here just continues to go on that upward trend. And we'll see, because he also could look for items like the Gifted Ags. It's where giving it to probably the Batrider is the big one, but there's some funky ones on his team. Rubik's is also fantastic if he decides to be that kind of a soul, but we're not there yet. 35 minutes, if this game goes on another 10, then Mini will start to give away gifts, but in the meantime, Thunder Awaken are still looking for any semblance of items. Knight just finished off a Gleipnir, but even that feels much slower than what we're really used to here. And a part of that is because Lalatroni is taking a lot of the jungle farm as well. They're struggling to find some of that balance where they have an ultra carry, but they also have a 1.5 in the mid lane. So it feels a little bit weird, and it feels like Nature's Prophet is really suffering because of that.
You're starting to see a little bit of the greed coming back to bite Thunder Awaken with the lineup choices they made. As Excel, yeah, bit of an awkward one, tries to hook his way out. Instead, he'll be picked off, and now Knight's been caught as well. Mini pops the BKB. Actually, didn't pop the BKB. That's just his ult. And the Berserk Potion really kind of getting the job done. So, Shard purchase going quite nicely for him. Heiko, meanwhile, yep, got the blink, got the skewer, held the RP so that they could lock him down now, and there is no way out. Not even the chance to pop BKB there. And now if you're Thunder Awaken, you're starting to kind of run a little low on options here. It's looking like it may have to be just a high ground defense for them, because their own sense of agency in this game has rapidly dwindled.
No, finds the Basher up on Mini, ready to slot out, but losing 2 cores so succinctly just means there's no contest. We don't see a team fight. We don't see any battle. Now the Alec is 10k net worth ahead of anybody else in this game. You're losing your outpost. At least you still got Glyph, but it's also where nature's prophet. We're looking over at him. You know, where's the Daedalus? Where's the AC? Is he going to be level 20 soon? Well, you need that control. But it's also one of those games where that talent ends up not really hurting too much. Maybe it'll help kite the Alc a little bit more, but he's a blink guy. He goes in on you. There's no Ember in this game. There's no Pango. There's no heroes that also naturally build up the pike, but you've got a Batrider who just breaks the trees anyway because he's Firefly. It's just one of those late game situations where Knight himself is probably feeling a little bit stressed out about going towards those later stages.
Well, while they sort of anguish over what their decision should be, NoRunes have a bit of a no-brainer. They push up, they force out the Glyph. Mini the only one up there because he does still have the Aegis, so did they get that damage for free? They get the Glyph for free. They ever so slightly overreact to an illusion there, but they've got control, and at this point they really do know it. And if you're Thunder Awaken, well, I don't know, ET. For a successful fight, what does it really look like? Is it just gonna come down to maybe hoping your opponents overextend on the high ground, or is there anything they can do outside of their own base?
Oh, well, step 1 is going to be Aegis expiring. 35 seconds on it. Once we have the Aegis gone, then we can go for that Hail Mary play, as well as maybe trying to catch the Alc. But look at that. Ward placed, captured, not even going to need to drag him back. We're going to do it just for fun. And those are some free picks. And Glyph will get refreshed, but that's it. At least they kill the Batrider out in the river. A Batrider without buyback, but unless the Tiny and Snapfire have buyback, I mean, we're on even footing, guys. That is a trade in which NoRunes are going to just get this Rax.
There are TPs available on everyone who's involved in that kill on the other side of the map. They just don't come back. Maybe realizing we did kind of use everything we had there, right? They used the Wrath of Nature, they used the Requiem, so coming back for a defense that they don't feel they have the ammunition for is probably not the wisest choice, but it does mean they lose that entire lane.
Yeah.
And maybe lose Excel?
Oh, yeah. Punched, Abyssal Bladed, lifted, taken down. But Thunder Awaken can't afford to lose anymore. Glyph's gone. There's no Aegis, but if you lose a fight in dire territory, you're just going to lose another Rax, or at least another tier 3 tower. It's where NoRunes are looking for that next free objective. They aren't looking to retreat. They also have to be a little bit careful getting split pushed right now, but they want that next easy free win. Mr. Jeans also wants a little bit of revenge. Got picked off before. He's got a Blink Dagger. He's got a BKB. All things he wants to use. He still hasn't used his 9-second at this point.
Oh, man. Now, how long ago did he get this BKB? It has been a hell of a long time, but they've either not needed it or he's been killed so quickly that he doesn't get the chance. As Knight, is he?
Knight.
He's faking out Wrath of Nature, but he...
Does he notice? He's getting affected by Ceremonial Aura. The neutral.
He does not notice, and now he's gonna pay. Oof. Yeah, he pings the ward immediately, but pinging it now is too late. That's rough.
And the game will be resuming pretty soon here. We're coming up on that 5-minute timer. And we'll see if Thunder Awaken are keeping kind of track here of that timer, because they're the team that has to unpause. And yeah, here we go.
There it
This
is.
is where the game would begin, and there we are.
Well, 5 minutes have gone by. The game will be resumed with Mr. Jean still out of the server. And we'll see. Do they run it down? Do NoRunes just say, caution to the wind and let's go for it? They are pushing onto the tower. That much we sort of expected even before the pause came through. But how much further do they want to go? How much further do they feel comfortable going? Not up to the high ground just yet. Mini backs it off. He'll get his overwhelming blink. And it looks like for now at least they are not going to really try and push the tempo too significantly.
Yeah, buying their time a little bit. Being safe. At the end of the day, there is 35 minutes on the Roche. We can get a Mr. Jeans in here as well, even better. But it looks like they're deciding to be patient in this situation, which is never a bad option. But the clock and the net worth is going to start kind of ticking against them here. This Batrider wants to farm. He wants to occupy a lane, but this is farm that is not going up anymore. Mr. Jeans is no longer receiving gold. This is what you have. You can give him levels, but this is what you got. And it looks like Noages is the one kind of taking prime control here over the Batrider, which makes sense, but is going to add to the complexity that these heroes are going to have to deal with here. While Thunder Awaken decided, hey, we're pushing in. We're on the other side of the map. We're going to start spreading out, and this is where the net worth will begin to change.
DD rune picked up there by Smiling Knight, and they're going to start pushing their way forward. Yep. Mr. Jeans, or the person controlling him, able to make the jump in, though. They're in onto the clockwork, locking him down. Excel will fall, but they want a little bit more, and they do manage to get it. Michael gets his TP canceled. Avalanche buys him maybe 1 or 2 seconds left of life, but Mini blinks in. Overwhelming Blink gets the job done, and NoRunes might have their opening. They did have to use Lasso there to sort of start that engagement, but they are really pushing it down now. You are going to run out of the Chemical Rage in a few moments, but the Berserk Potion is still there, so Mini going to lead the charge up to the high ground. Excel using his buyback here. Hookshot is available, but Thunder Awaken aren't all in position here. They had to TP back the Shadow Fiend, but once they do, NoRunes decide it's time to back off.
Yeah, successful. They're keeping their head in the game right now. Another smoke up from Thunder Awaken, though. They want that easy play, but it's good that NoRunes still feel like they have this advantage. But here's the smoke. Here's the fight. And a fight where the Batrider isn't here. He's pushing out top. They're splitting. So NoRunes have to give the respect to Thunder Awaken.
A good play from Noagus there. He snuck in, he pops the smoke, and then he blinks out. So they lose the element of surprise here on Thunder Awaken. Excel, though, still pushing forward, and he's entirely alone. His teammates are on the other side of the river. That was ill-advised, for sure. But actually, I was going to say it's just Excel. Excel bought back. So he's dead for about a minute here, and Roche is respawning right now.
Yeah, and now they are not going to have any vision. They're not going to be able to peek into the pit. But
Oh,
look at this.
the stun!
The SF.
Okay, Lotus Orb reflects the stun, so Mini is locked down for a moment, but someone's got to help. Lalatroni has no other way out of this, but he's not going to make it. They find the kill. Lalatroni goes down. Michael now doing a bit of a dance here in the woods, but he doesn't really have anywhere to go either. Lotus Orb reflecting a lot of those spells, but none of those reflected spells will actually save Michael's life. That's 3 heroes dead now without buyback. And NoRunes. There we go. It's like I'm not sure they realized just how big a move they had made there. There was a slow realization. Nobody's buying back. We have a chance to push their way forward. Their creep wave needs to cooperate, but it will come through the top lane. They're going to be able to take down a second lane of racks. At this point, though, with the SF still dead for 30 and not buying back, do they just go straight in for the tier 4s? No. Instead, they go for Smiling Knight, who was trying to cut the creep waves, and they're going to be able to lock him down. The lasso comes through the BKB, preventing the TP home. Smiling Knight is dead. Meanwhile, what is this? Excel gets caught again. And Thunder Awaken... Well, I think A, the pause threw them off, and B, they might just want this game to end one way or another, because they are starting to kind of file in one by one.
Oh, they definitely are, and with the push in, Mini whacking on the tower. I mean, there is a glyph, or no, there's no glyph, actually. They're just pushing for it. They have buyback on the Nature's Prophet, but the map is quiet. Nobody's making a move. There's still no clockwork for 10 seconds, and then he'll start flaring in, but this has to be a buyback and then a final defense, or this is the game.
Oh, where's the play? Illich gonna go for the kisses. Knight buys back. They're gonna pop the Requiem. The damage isn't great, but they do get Mini and Jupiter in there, so that's gonna work really, well, about as well as they could have expected.
And then they take the riskier play. And Nueges is still looking over in the fountain, but more importantly, Roshan is alive. They tried high ground with Roche being up, a classic mistake, because now Knight who wasn't happy with his position, is still 20k net worth behind the Alchemist, well, has an Aegis. Is not going to have to worry about his buyback necessarily or dying necessarily immediately. He's just going to get this. This is completely free, and you're not going to see buybacks from NoRunes at all. They're going to have to forfeit this.
Well, they're going to let Roche go. Aegis and Shard. Does Knight take both? Yes, he does. Okay, so he's got 2 lives. He's got the Curse of the Old Growth going his way, and Thunder Awaken. They're looking a little bit better here. Of course, this is always kind of the weird thing in this game. Thunder Awaken have just bought themselves time. They're still in the match, but every moment that they buy for themselves extra is also presumably getting us closer to Mr. Jeans reaching a computer of some kind to log himself back in here, so kind of a double-edged sword. But the alternative was straight up losing the game there, and if you're Thunder Awaken, well, obviously you're not looking to lose the game right about now. They want to keep on fighting, and they have the chance to do so. The problem is, I don't really know if they want to get aggressive looking for a fight at the moment, because they're going to be fighting into everything that NoRunes have.
Yeah, it is still going to be a fine line for Thunder Awaken, whether they want to aggress or push forward, but I also don't want to give up. And I heard an Ags gifted over, and I'm looking, and I guess, yeah, they gave it to New Ages, so you're going to have those Treant eyes in the forest now, and they are smoked up right now. They do not want to break, but Excel will take down, Mini will take down Excel, but look at that. Jumping, and Mr. G and somebody microed him. He got off the BKB. He does lasso himself, but
RP,
this is still enough.
Connecting onto 2. Mini's looking to push in for the damage. They need to be able to take down the Shadow Fiend. There's going to be the Overgrowth coming out, though. And is that enough? The SF goes down. Michael will fall. Illich is in trouble, getting bashed to hell. And they will set up for the second attempt on to Knight, who now has no BKB, no way out, and there's your GG. Rampage for Mini. 4v5. NoRunes say, we don't give a damn. And ET, they're very fortunate that this works out for them. They needed the points. The universe conspired against them, but they still get the win.
Yeah, and that's our happy ending. The team that was winning for the majority of the game, who had the DZ, who had to go into the 4v5, still ends up winning despite it all. Love it. And props, whoever, I have no idea who clicked it at the end of the day there. That's something maybe you game NoRune fan, whatever buffs, check out. Somebody popped that BKB. Somebody also lassoed himself. He reacted and he ended up lassoing a Lotus Orb. But somebody got the BKB off. He didn't die to the Shadow Fiend immediately. And that's what allowed Haiku to get that RP. So somebody, some guardian angel, clicked the button for Mr. Jeans. The funny thing is, Mr. Jeans, somebody needs to get on the phone, make sure Mr. Jeans isn't walking around looking for the LAN cafe still, trying to make his way for a pro game that has already concluded. But let's go. 1-1, NoRunes, they make it out.
Still alive. Still have hopes for reaching that playoff stage here. And yeah, it felt kind of weird. Felt like we basically cut the game in half, because we got through 15 minutes of pause time, but NoRunes walk away with it. And maybe this is a turning point for them. I know the pause makes things weird, but they played a very solid game here with a last pick Alchemist aided draft, so, take that with a grain of salt maybe, but they did exactly what they needed to do, and they got the win.
And that's all you gotta say. They got the win. Mr. James was here the whole time. They did it. They executed. Mini gets to end the game with a Rampage. He gets to end the game with 24-2-7. I mean, kind of put the team on his back. And they took a game off of what looks to be our top seed. So really, I don't know, NoRunes. I don't know. Kind of feeling good. Kind of feels like they don't want to go out just yet, but their battle is far from over. Thunder Awakens isn't as well. They still have, I think, one more series to play. They're just solidified at the top. NoRunes, though, they need to keep their heads down, keep these wins coming. Otherwise, they will be looking for that early exit that, man, with such a hard-fought win, they do not want to go out early.
And now NoRunes may be done for the day, ET, but they get to watch with very keen interest what goes down in this final series of the day. It is Dreamers versus Ravens. Ravens is one of the teams that NoRunes is now tied with for the last one or two spots. Alliance Latam is in the mix there as well. So NoRunes got their one win to force that tie. Now we'll see whether the tie actually holds or not. But that is going to be our final series of the day. A couple more South American squads going at each other. So we'll be stepping away for just a little bit, and when we return, we will have the Game 1 draft between Dreamers and Ravens. So stick around, and we'll see you on the other side of the break.